Hey guys, so I want us to quickly talk about Abg interpretation, that is arterial blood gas interpretation. So that is one of the challenging topics even to me. I won't be going deep into what arterial blood gas is. We will just be focusing on the interpretation. Arterial blood gas helps us to know the acid base and oxygenation, and I'll be leaving you the parameters that we'll be working with and their number range up here. So you need to know the number range for pH, the bicarbonates, CO2, oxygen, and the rest. So that's the number range, and you need to know them very well, because without knowing the number range, you won't be able to interpret arterial blood gas. So let's go straight into the steps. Step 1 is look at the pH. Immediately you see the Abg, the first thing you need to look at is the pH. Is the pH normal? Is it within the normal range, or is it high? So that's what you need to look at. So once you look at the pH, that will tell you whether it is acidosis or alkalosis. So at that point of looking at the pH, you should be able to know whether it is acidosis or alkalosis. For instance, if you look at the pH and it's 7.30, you know that it is acidosis. That is a step 1. So the step 2 now is what caused that acidosis. You need to determine the cause of the acidosis. Is it respiratory or is it metabolic? Respiratory has to do with the CO2. Metabolic has to do with the bicarbonate. So once you've determined that is acidosis, look at the CO2. What is the CO2? For instance, the CO2 is 50. I know that the number range is 35 to 45. That means the CO2 is high. And that is actually what is causing the acidosis, because there is high level of CO2. So we've determined that it is respiratory acidosis at that point. Then the third step is to determine the compensation. So you now ask yourself, is there any other organ or system trying to compensate? You know the concept of homeostasis, the acid-base balance. You know, when one system is not functioning well, another system will try to compensate to balance the body, to make the body function well. So there is another system that will be trying to work hard to bring this pH to normal, since from the example I gave you is 7.30. So, and what is causing it is the respiratory system, mainly the lungs. So you now ask, is the renal system, like the kidney, is trying to compensate? Is it doing anything, or is it just realizing that it doesn't concern me, So, and how do you check that? By checking the value of the bicarbonate. And the normal range from what I've showed earlier is 22 to 26. So anything outside this range is not the normal range. So let's assume that when you look at the value of the bicarbonate and it is 24, which is the normal range, that means the bicarbonate for the renal system is not doing anything to compensate. So the pH is abnormal because of the respiratory system, and no other system is trying to help. That means the answer there is uncompensated. Nothing is compensating it. So if you look at that value of pH of 7.30, CO2 of 50, and then bicarbonate of 24, it is uncompensated respiratory acidosis. So let's do some examples. I'll be in like 1 or 2 examples here. I don't want this video to be lengthy, but if you have any example that you want me to explain more or to help with interpreting it, pop that in the comment section and I will do just that. So let's look at another example. I'll be typing it up there. So the pH is 7.39, then the CO2 is 59, and then the bicarbonate is 35. So let's follow the step I showed earlier. First thing is look at the pH. What is the pH? 7.39. That's within normal range. So the pH is normal, and we know that. But pH of less than 7.40 is towards the acidic part. So, but it's within the normal range. So let's move on to the next step and check on the CO2. The CO2 is 59. That is high. That means the high level of CO2 actually shows the presence of acid. So it's respiratory acidosis at that point. And the last step is there any other organs trying to compensate? So let's check the bicarbonate, which is 35. It's actually high. So the bicarbonate is high and the CO2 is high, then the pH is normal. That is a full compensation, because the respiratory system produce, let me say, there is more acid, which is causing the acidosis. And again, the renal system intervened and raised up the level of the bicarbonate up to 35, and that's why the pH went back to normal. So because it was able to correct the pH, that shows a full compensation. So I've done example on uncompensated. I've done example on fully compensation. So this one is fully compensated respiratory acidosis. So let me know if you have any example you want me to solve. Bye.